Okay, guys, we're back here. It's turn 10. Things are going very well. I played the turn already, turn 10, and I'm thinking about what needs to happen next. And the biggest thing that we've been focusing on is we want to build a rush next turn at Centuria. We know that's going to cost us about 5,400 megacredits. The biggest thing I started thinking about was what happens after next turn. So we're bringing all this minerals in, and we're bringing all this money in. We don't want to just build a rush on this planet. That's a relatively easy thing to do. We could scrounge minerals together and build a rush. We want to start production there so that every turn we can build a rush. So I thought, not only this turn, but how am I going to build a rush next turn? And the biggest challenge there was we need to get enough mineral or enough money to make that happen. We've actually got tons of resources. Our mining is going fantastic. So we're really set up well. I'm confident that we can have enough minerals to build every turn right till the end on this planet because of all the great mineral planets that we've found around here. So the biggest challenge is just that we've got to get 1,000 megacredits a turn there. Our building a rush is about 900 megacredits. So we need to get about 900 megacredits a turn to this planet. So I decided to sell off all the supplies I have. Because we have so many minerals, I'm a little bit less worried about converting those into more minerals. We want to get that production going because there's only so much time left before the ship limit. So I'm selling the supplies. I'm going to bring it all here to Centuria. So from my calculations, based on what I'm bringing here, we should have enough for the next 2 turns to build there. And then we're going to have, so we have 3 turns to get more money there. And I'm hoping that we can get another chunk of the money that we had planned for our raising our tech levels over here down to there. Building the rushes is the most important thing. We're going to have an opportunity to get some secondary ships. So we are building some more small ships, but we need these small ships. We're going to build them anyways at some point. We're going to gamble a little bit that our opponents are not attacking us really early. And that if they do, then we're going to have some rushes available to start fighting back. So that's a pretty powerful thing to respond with, and gives us a good opportunity to work. So that's it. I'm bringing everything here. And one thing I just want to point out, these Falcons, I'm flying them at warp 7. So even though they have warp 4 engines, they're going to fly at warp 7. I do overclock them. I'm using the minimum amount of fuel I can, but it's worth to keep moving these minerals as fast as I can. And then just hope I don't run out of fuel. I'm kind of looking at what I've got and being careful and trying to use what I can carefully and keep things moving. So it's a bit of a risk, but I think I have enough fuel to make it work. Otherwise, I'm still seeking out that great planet over here. Let's go and see if we find it on turn 11. Okay, we've got 2 new planets we can explore. I like to see them. Aha! Wow. Okay, so it's not a big money planet. It's not what we were hoping for in terms of money, but there's no doubt that this is the new home for our northern starbase. So the big challenge now is just getting enough money here to sustain production. But we found a gypsodal with tons of minerals. So it's a really great planet to build on. We're going to use the minerals or the money we can get from these planets, and we've got a little bit of money here that might be enough to use that to build the starbase, and then we'll get a lot of production out of this northern planet here. We've also explored another planet down here. It's cool. It's got a little bit of tritanium on it at a high density, so that's worth something. Though we have a ton of tritanium already, so it's going to be useful though. So we're going to make use of it. We're going to need to go back and probably follow this route back. So we're going to come down here to get money and supplies, and then we'll come back up here where we can build our mines, and then head back up with this stuff here to our starbase, because getting this money back up here is going to be really important from our bovinoid, which is now producing a lot. As you can see, we're taxing it down, again, the colonists and the natives, as much as we can. So minus 18 here, which is decent. Only take us 4 turns to get the money out, or three total turns to get the money out. I consider getting the money out, meaning we taxed him down to 40, and so we got out as much money as we could before the ship limit. So let my columns grow from here. I built mines. So when the supplies were produced by the Bovinoy, when I dropped it, I built mines right away. And now I have probably enough mines actually for what's going on here. I'll invest in some factories. I could build a lot more mines. There is the neutronium here, but I'm going to wait on that until we have taxed this down to get sort of the most out of that, and then I might choose to invest in these mines, but I need this money more than I need that fuel. So I'm going to just wait on that. I will make the factory investment here that will pay off in the next 4 turns. Yeah, so let's just have a quick look at our planet here. There's been some comments about the unload button missing in this new version, and I think that's a great point, and don't worry, we're going to get that feature added, but it's not yet quite ready. So I have to kind of go through here and unload everything. But if we've done everything correctly, we should be able to queue our first rush, which is the sort of exciting output of all of our hard work here as we've worked to get this together. And there's our medium deep with all the money, and things look good. He brought some clans along from our homeworld too, so things are looking really good here. Let's go to our starbase, and sure enough, we should be able to queue our rush. Put warp 4 engines on it. They're a little more expensive than molybdenum, but not very expensive money-wise, so I think we can afford it. You could consider plasma bolts here, but I'm really, really tight on money. I want to make sure I have enough for next turn, and I really am tight. So I would think maybe about putting plasmas. Maybe I can afford it. It would be 1. I'll look at that between turns here if I can afford the plasma bolts, which are a big upgrade over lasers. But we are definitely queuing a rush this turn, and we've got tons of minerals. We've got some money and stuff here we could sell, so we can definitely build a rush the following turn too. So now I need to start thinking, how do I build a rush, not next turn, but the following turn again at this starbase? And that's why I already started thinking about it. So that's why I've got 1,400 megacredits up here, which is 2 turns away. I use my measuring tool. I can see here that we are just 2 turns away, 154 light years. So that money is almost certainly got to come down here. And then hopefully by then, 1, 2, 3 turns, we can start getting money back from here. So I'm going to have to start thinking maybe I can't come back the way I want to here, but I can think about how to get this money down from down here up to here for 3 turns from now. And meanwhile, those large sea space freighters can continue to ferry the minerals that are needed back and forth. Now, I did make a decision to leave the duranium and titanium down here because I'm thinking that this planet, Fornax here, might make a good planet for another starbase, and or we would put it down here, but probably up here because, again, connections is key. It makes it a lot easier to keep the sustainable production up. So I'm thinking we might have enough capacity to support 2 starbases down here, and maybe we can get another 4 or 5 rushes built before the ship limit between turn 20 and 25 at this planet. So we get sustainable production here, and then once we get that, we'll have to accumulate enough cash again to raise the tech levels up here, and then we can think about building another starbase. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm going to play this turn, and we'll see how things go from here. I'm also going to try and start scouting out these planets. I sent 1 medium deep over to go this way. Of course, our large deep is going over here with the minerals, and we're going to likely start heading back. Oh, well, we might send that large deep north as well. So we'll see what's happening. A little bit more thinking to be done. So I'm going to pause and play this turn, and then we'll look at turn 12. Okay, I've made the moves now for turn 11. So as we pointed out, the exciting thing is that we're building our first rush. At our other homeworld, we're still only building a medium deep. I'm really saving everything I can right now to try to just minimal valuable ship while I try to get the tech levels up. And then I'd like to be able to start building something a bit more substantial here. Unfortunately, we haven't found a lot of great sources of money yet. So we're going to be a little bit tight on getting those medium style ships out. We might have to go with Mark 4s. I don't want to do that. I really prefer to go with Mark 7s, but we might need to start doing that just to get some ships out that are Mark 4s in order to get something happening. Otherwise, sometimes you'll find a silicanoid, and then that ends up being a really great place to build some torpedoes for mine laying. But we're going to do this. We are just now starting to get to the point, very interesting, now that we've set up our first rush to build, we're getting to the opportunity that now we have such a number of ships going on here, we don't need them all to be ferrying everything. So we can start to expand a little bit again. And so I'm hyper jumping a couple of ships off to have a look around, and I am sending one medium deep out here. We are scouting, we're trying to find some minerals or some more money, and with the one jumping forward, we're really saying, hey, we're laying claim to this cluster. In the case of most games where diplomacy is a big factor, once you sort of lay claim to a cluster, you at least have a discussion going on. And now that you're starting to produce some heavy carriers and you're going to do it substantially, so if someone shows up in the next 5 or 6 turns and says, hey, I see that you're in this cluster, you're going to have a lot of military power. And when you make that, that gesture of peace towards them, they're going to be happy to accept it. So that's where having a large military early is going to start paying off to make diplomacy and other aspects of the game a little bit easier for yourself. So we're going to go to turn 11 and see what happens here, and then we can queue up another rush and see what we're discovering on all of these other planets. And we're also getting close to building that next starbase. As you can see, it's taking a lot longer to play each turn. We've got a lot of ships already, so it's definitely more substantial. There's something to be said about that. Another great mineral planet up here. Unfortunately, still no good natives. We've scouted out over here. Not much there on that planet. I made an error with the Falcon and hyper jumping, or actually looks more like an issue with the warp well functionality. So I'm gonna have a look at that. And so we don't see anything going on there yet. So I'm gonna look at that stuff, and we will first just have a quick look at our starbase here. And if everything has gone very well, and hopefully it has, we can still build another rush here. So we're really starting to get this production going. Yep, we can just afford it. We have 3 supplies left. So you can see how sometimes calculating this stuff is really, really important. I couldn't afford the plasmas last time because if I'd have done that, I wouldn't have had anything here. And I did only put a couple of supplies on each of those Falcons that I fired off in each direction. So still can afford my rush. Everything is good. This next medium deep is coming in with 1,100 megacredits. We've still got tons of minerals going on here. So we're really in good shape to build next turn on this planet. Now I'm hoping to bring this money down here. We've got here already 2,800 more megacredits. So now things are starting to add up on our new planet down here. And we are 2 turns away. So next turn is this money coming in. The following turn is this money coming in, and our large fish freighter is over here picking up minerals again, and we'll be able to scoop some as these guys come by. We can get another few hundred molybdenum, so we're going to have tons of minerals here. So right now we're really looking good for production for at least the next really 3 turns, 4 turns, and you can see how once you start to get this engine going, we're going to produce a rush every turn. And if you think about that, our first rush has come out on turn 12. We now have a rush. So 12, we're going to be able to go to turn 25. So this starbase, I don't see any reason that this starbase alone cannot produce 13 rushes from here forward. And that's a huge number. So we'll be at 14 rushes total just from this one starbase. In the meantime, we're going to be working on developing our northern starbase here. If we have extra capacity here, which we might have, we might build down here. We may choose to take one of those turns where we're building a rush and build a Merlin. We don't have a need for it yet because we don't have any supplies anyways. And I do consider it valuable to get some of these rushes out early. And we're going to want to get some tow ships going and take one of them out to the front line. Personally, I like to put just a few fighters on that first one, send it off, and start to get more fighters from, forward developed bases. So if I can send some Falcons up here and start to develop some stuff, then I can use the minerals from there to get the fighters onto these rushes, rather than using the minerals from my home area, which is trying to build all these ships. So I'm going to go ahead and end this part of the series, and then I'll go forward with the next turns here. But this is a really key point. If you were to consider stopping the series at this point, you can definitely do so. At this moment, we have produced, by building up all around this one starbase, a production facility, a manufacturing plant of rushes. So we are definitely going to get 10 to 12 heavy carriers just from this one starbase here, along with support ships that we've already got a bunch of support ships, and we're going to have a bunch more higher quality support ships. Even if our other bases now only built support ships and we got a dozen heavy carriers, we'd be doing better than the vast majority of our opponents, and really in a position to win. If you look back at your games and you look at turn 25, and you're often having 4 heavy carriers or 4 dark wings, or 5 or 6 T-Rexes, or those kind of things, you can see how this approach can immediately get you boosted up to a much heavier fighting capacity as you go forward. And I'll take this demo series forward, and we'll see how it plays out as we approach turn 25, which is we are using turn 25 because in elite games, that is often around the time of the ship limit being hit. So championship level matches, you got turn 25, turn 26 for the ship limit, which is why that first 25 turns is the most interesting, or the most challenging from an economic perspective, or the most important. Thanks for watching, and look forward to the next video.